Hello and welcome to Momentum Fitness and Health, where we can help you find yours. My name is Venckus, and I am a corrective exercise specialist, certified personal trainer, performance enhancement specialist, health coach, and fitness nutrition specialist. We wanted to bring you a video to give you the differences, or tell you what the differences are between sciatic pain and piriformis syndrome. These two are very often confused, and you're going to learn why they're so often confused and how to treat each one differently. Now, sciatic pain refers to the pain that radiates along the path of the sciatic nerve, which basically branches from your low back, through your hips and buttocks, and down each leg, so on both sides. Now, typically, sciatica only affects one side of the body, so that's something important to note right off the top. Now, the symptoms of sciatica are pain that radiates from the lumbar spine, that's that lower back area, to the buttock and down through the leg. Now, you can feel it anywhere in that path, but most often it starts in the low back. And now this is why it sometimes is hard to distinguish between sciatica and piriformis syndrome. Now, piriformis syndrome is a condition in which the piriformis muscles located in the buttocks, so lower than the low back obviously, but the piriformis muscle in the buttock region spasms and causes pain in the buttock. Now, the piriformis muscle can also irritate the nearby sciatic pain and cause pain, numbness, and tingling along the back of the leg and into the foot. Again, very, very similar to sciatic pain. Symptoms of piriformis syndrome are a dull ache in the buttock, pain down the back of the thigh, calf, and foot, similar to sciatica, pain when walking upstairs or different inclines, increased pain after prolonged sitting, which is the most common, and reduced range of motion of the hip joint. So what happens is you're tight in your piriformis and it doesn't allow you to be able to open up your hip as much as it normally would. So it reduces your range of motion. Now, it's extremely important that you treat these differently. Treating sciatic pain as piriformis syndrome can actually create a larger problem. I've seen it happen with a client who told me she had sciatica. I made the mistake of making the assumption that this was diagnosed, and it turns out she had piriformis syndrome, so we were treating it incorrectly, and it actually made it worse. So let me show you some of the exercises for sciatica. And the first thing we're going to start with is a simple yoga move or a simple stretch called Pigeon pose. And I'm going to show you 3 ways to do it: a full version, a reclined version, and a seated version. So the full version of Pigeon pose is to go into what they call a downward dog. And what you do is you just slide that right knee to the right wrist, and then you come down as far as you can. Now, the goal here is to have a completely vertical shin across your body here, but if you can't get up, that's okay. You can also come down a little bit further until you feel a nice good stretch in that piriformis. And you'll feel it all through the hip. So let me show you what it looks like on the other side. Left knee, left wrist, and you're coming down. Now, if you've got a little bit of a gap here, there's a couple things you can do. If it's really, really uncomfortable, you can put a yoga brick under here, or a towel, or a pillow, or something under there to give you a little bit of support if it's that painful. But if it's not, again, you can come all the way down until you get even flat to the ground almost. Now, hold that stretch anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds. 90 seconds is probably optimal. Some yoga classes will have you hold it a little bit longer, but for the sake of time, we'll say about 90 seconds. Just make sure you do it every day. Now, these are going to be really good if you're sitting at a desk a lot. A lot of us sit at desks nowadays, and we don't get a chance to get up and stretch, and this is going to help with that. Now, you can do the reclined version of Pigeon pose. So you go on your back, you cross your left knee over or left ankle, over the right knee, and then you hook your hands under and you pull in. And you're going to stretch the same way you did with the other pigeon pose. And this is the reclined version. If it's too much strain on your neck, bring your hands down, lay your head on the floor, and bring it, and then just push it back. So the last form of the pigeon pose is to do it seated. Now this is something you can very easily do at your desk. But you'd sit on the chair, same way as you did when you were reclined, cross the left ankle over the right knee, or if it's on the other side, do right over left, and just lean forward. And this is going to help you stretch out just the same way. Not everyone can get on the floor, and that's okay. So you can do it from a chair, you can do it on your back, however, whichever way works for you. Next, you can do another stretch that is similar to the pigeon pose on your back, but this time what you're going to do is just bring your knee here to the opposite shoulder and pull it up towards your shoulder. So I'm bringing my right knee towards my left shoulder. I'll show you on the other side. I think I know to do this by now. And bring it up and over. So I can get that same stretch in the piriformis, or in this area here. Now we mentioned that it originates in the low back. So we want to stretch the low back as well. So what we can do is what's called a dancer stretch for the low back. And what we'll do is we'll take the left foot, put it behind the right knee, take this left elbow, hook it, turn, and face behind you. Now if you can only get to here, that's fine. If you only get to here, that's fine. If you have to pull, that's fine too. As long as you're getting a stretch in that low back area. You should get a nice good stretch. Sit up nice and tall, like your head is on a string, and do your best to look behind you and open up the body. And that will stretch your low back. So depending on what side it's on, or if it's on both sides, like I said, sciatica is usually just one side, but you can do it to both sides as well. Next, you want to also stretch your hamstrings, which are the backs of your legs. Very simple stretches. You can do both at the same time. You can lean forward and reach down towards your ankles. You can also use a towel or a belt to wrap it around your feet and pull, and it'll stretch the backs of your legs. You can do both or one at a time. You can do both at the same time to save time. So if you're going to do one at a time, just bring one leg in and reach. Now you can probably reach further if you do one leg. So you can do it either way. Now, exercises for the piriformis, you can do for piriformis syndrome. You can do the same ones. One extra thing that you can do, or two extra things rather that you can do, are one, use a tennis ball. And this tennis ball is a bit of a killer. You don't want to use it for sciatica. This is one of the things that if you do it for sciatica, it can make it worse. This one is specifically for piriformis syndrome, including the ones that we just did. So for piriformis syndrome, what you can do is you can put the ball underneath where that piriformis is, so it's not quite up on the hip, it's not quite the center of the buttock, but right along the edge. You will know it when you find it. Now I'm using a lacrosse ball, but you can use a tennis ball. I have a spiky ball that I use when I really want to get in there. And you can use racket balls or anything that you can get in there, but you do want to make sure that you're getting one that is not too intense either, because then you don't want to bruise yourself up. Now I'm just sitting on it. You can lean back on it, and the more you lean back on it, the more pressure it's going to put. So if all you have is a tennis ball and you need more pressure, lean back. If you need even more pressure, lay down and bicycle. And what this bicycle does, when you bicycle, it massages it in there. It works it in there, and you can feel that. Now I just ran a half marathon last weekend, so I can definitely feel this. And that will work in there as well to loosen up that piriformis. This is actually one of my favorite things for the piriformis. Now, another thing you can do for piriformis syndrome, and something that some people tell you can do for sciatica, but do not do it for sciatica, is using the foam roll. On the IT band specifically, there are different thicknesses or different hardnesses of foam rolls. Usually it goes pink, blue, then black. I use the black one all the time, but since I'm wearing black pants, I want you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the blue one today. So what you can do, again, this is only for piriformis syndrome. Do not use this for IT band or for sciatica. You go to the side of the leg, anywhere from above the knee. Do not roll onto the knee. You don't want to press on that joint, because it'll put pressure on the ligaments, and you don't want to tear anything in there, because that's a whole other problem you don't want to deal with. So you roll down until you find, again, a half marathon, till you find a spot that is tight. Now you don't want to roll back and forth on it. That's not the way this thing works. You're supposed to actually let it sit on there, and you can check out our video on how to properly use a foam roll. We'll post it up here, and it'll show you even more in depth and more places to use it. So now anywhere on the IT band, which is basically from the top, just above your knee to just below your hip. One area that you never want to roll, that you never want to foam roll, is the low back. The reason is your ribs end at a certain point, you have exposed organs down there, and you don't want to roll onto any of those exposed organs. It's not likely, but you could do some damage to those organs, so to be on the safe side, don't foam roll the low back. One thing that you can do with a physical therapist or a corrective exercise specialist is have them show you how to use a ball to get in there as well, but to do it in a way where it doesn't slide up and, poke you in the kidneys. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you the difference between, or it gives you a real good understanding of the difference between sciatica and piriformis syndrome. Very, very, very similar, but they have to be treated differently. If you treat sciatica like you are for piriformis syndrome, you're going to make it worse. And then who knows how much damage that can do. So make sure you're treating it right, and if you're not sure, you can come in here and meet with us. We will have a physical therapist on staff soon, I promise. You at least have a corrective exercise specialist, balance exercise specialist, and runners and all that here. So until we get a chance to see you, I hope that you can find your momentum. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video from Momentum Fitness and Health. Whether it was one of our Well Fit Chicago video blogs, one of our educational videos, or one of our workouts, we hope that it helps you find your momentum. If you want to stay up to date and get all the videos as they come out, make sure you click that subscribe button right there underneath the screen. The one that's right there.